for a fourth nuclear test. A vegetable seller turned sniper, a refrigerator repairman now fighting as a soldier, the reality of the civil war in Syria. Despite the bombardment of images online and on our TV screens, it can be hard for the world to understand what life is really like for people who live in conflict zones. Two Polish filmmakers travelled to Syria in July last year, seeking to make a story about the common people whose communities have been ripped apart over the past 3 years. Well, we have one of the filmmakers, Michał Przydlecki, who's with me in the studio. But first, let's just have a look at one extract from his film.
لكن أنا أطلب طلب واحد فقط: إيقاف الدم.
دفعونا دفع لحتى نكون شعب عسكري، دفعونا بالقوة.
أكون أساعد على إيقاف بالعكس الأمور، أحاول إنه أساعد.
وين بابا؟
بالجنة.
هي ومين ماتت؟
هي وأخوي وجدو أحمد وأختي وأخوي. أختي راجي ماتت.
Well, that's a very strong film, as you can see. Michał Przydlecki is an aid worker and journalist who's alongside me now. The brutality and the poignancy of what these people are living through. Just explain how difficult it was to live and work alongside those people.
It was difficult to work in Aleppo because of the situation of war. We have been in Aleppo last July and August for 2 months, basically filming every day the despair, the havoc caused by fighting in the Syria's largest city. It was not difficult to live alongside Aleppians because Syrians are hospitable people. They treated us very well, they took care of us. But to witness what they are going through every day, this was shocking because you have only camera in your hand and camera does not save lives.
The resilience of the children there was striking as well because they still haven't perhaps worked through the emotional impact of what they're going through, but you see the older people and you see the shock on their faces. What was the most striking thing about the spirit of the people there and those who wanted to leave but couldn't afford to flee?
Well, the resilience. The resilience of Syrians who are under bombardment, sheltered in basements, trying to get on with living. Well, the sense of humor also, because war is just about despair, but you see sense of humor in people, and the striking image of families that cannot leave Aleppo because they lack $100–150 to get a car to the border, and they have to stay in a city that is being bombarded by the regime warplanes.
I was struck by just one of those clips there where somebody said he'd rather drag people out of the rubble to help them survive than kill, but you also came across people who had ordinary jobs, the refrigerator repairman, the vegetable seller, who decided to fight. Let's just see a clip of that extract now.
صيانة برادات، غسالات، أدوات منزلية يعني، هي مصلحتي. أرجع إن شاء الله برتاح محلي وانتهينا وارتحنا.
ما عندي أحلام شيء، ما عندي شيء، عندي يكون مع أبوي بخير وسلامة وبس.
The sequence ending there with that man being pulled out of the rubble, what happened to him?
He survived. This was a bombing of civilian buildings by regime warplanes in Bustan al-Qasr in August. I mean, as you can see, our Our camera focuses on ordinary Syrians, Syrians who do not see the difference between Sunni or Shia, between Muslim or Christian, but only between freedom and oppression. And this was what we wanted to show to the world. We wanted to withdraw ourselves from the commentary, to let Syrians speak for themselves, so they can speak who they really are and what they really hope for. And I hope we achieved that in the film, which we just finished.
On a practical level, how are people surviving?
Frankly, I have no idea, because I was first time in Aleppo in November 2012, and it was already then that we saw people that couldn't afford salt. And then we are 2 years later, and you still have hundreds of thousands of people in Aleppo. I believe that those still in Syria are surviving mainly because of the Syrian diaspora all across the world supporting Syrians inside. This is the great solidarity between Syrians that made these people still, that made them still alive, that they are still alive inside this war-torn country.
Are aid agencies still getting through as well?
Some aid agencies are getting through. I mean, People in Need, a Czech-based organization for whom I was working in Syria, was operating field offices inside northern Syria since December 2012. And this was one of really few examples that you would really see properly established humanitarian program inside. Aid is coming, but aid is not a solution for Syria.
We also saw in that first clip somebody being operated on by medics. I'm not clear if they were fully trained on what equipment was there. Was that some of the most horrific footage that you had to deal with? People who would have survived, perhaps, had they had the right treatment?
The most horrific footage, the most horrific situation we encountered was bombing of a charity market. The charity market was shelled by the regime forces. So many people died, so many children died. It was a charity market during Ramadan. And next day, a mother was collecting bits and pieces of her beloved son that was just completely torn apart. The boy's name was Mohammed. So can you imagine a young mother collecting bits of pieces of her child, and you are there with a camera?
Yeah, appalling. Michał Prochesky, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you very much, and I hope you have great success with this film, which is very strong.
We hope to show it to different audiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're watching GMT on BBC World.